Okay guys, let me just say thanks for taking the time to check this video out. So this is the last of a wave of one-of-a-kinds that I've worked on recently. This was originally the Sideshow Spider-Man comiquette, you know, the traditional red and blue statue that we turned into a symbiote black and white inspired costume. It's a bigger statue, but at the same time, this one really, it was a labor of love. I had a lot of issues with this statue. As far as from a sculpting standpoint, you know, filling in all those lines that were scribed into the original sculpt because of the red and blue costume having all those black webs, sculpting the symbiote symbol in a way where it makes sense because of the way his anatomy is contracting, and it has to follow the flow of the musculature of the statue. So it's not just a logo sticker per se, if that makes any sense. It has some kind of fluidity to it. So that was fun. And but I had an issue with this. I got this really close to being done. I got all the blue highlights and the black done, and I had an issue with my white. So the white that I had used to paint all this reacted, and there was no way for me to even save the black or the blue. Doing this, it's really trial by error. There's so many different brands that come out, and you want to try different things and do different things that haven't been done before, and it's all a learning curve, and it set me back a good amount of time, and I wanted to finish strong despite that. So I did, and I'm very happy with how it came out. There were a couple small little damages on the base, that happened in shipping. I remedied those, and he really looks fantastic. On my second try at this, since I had to basically, because when I had to sand down all the white paint that reacted to the other paint, there was no way to cleanly do that and save the black that and the blue highlights that I already put down. But the client also, I like my pieces very matte from just a aesthetic look to it, but it's also like a high protective. The more layers of matte top coat, or dull coat you put on top of something, I'm just a believer that it's just extra layers of protection. It's like putting wax on your car. But he did kind of have an issue with the fact that it was too matte. So redoing this, I was able to also get him to a closer sheen that he liked, which may sound like a little crazy, like that the sheen can really change the way that the eye interprets the piece, but it really does. I understood what he was talking about, and I'm glad that I could address it for him. So I'm just really happy over and all how it came out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on another light, because the back in black costume, or any paint costume where there's black, it's really a tricky thing to do, because you want to accentuate the highest area, the peak of the anatomy, so that's where you're going to put your highlights. But at the same time, our eye is trained, especially if you read comics, that blue is going to be the highlight of black, which doesn't really happen in real life. So it's a very graphic take on a three-dimensional piece, and at the same time you don't want the blue to be overpowering, but it has to be subtle at the same time. And it's really like, it's just, you have to get a feel for it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You can overdo it, you can underdo it, but finding that sweet spot is kind of imperative, and really what makes a paint job stand out, in my personal opinion. So I'm gonna bump the light on this, because right now in this video, I have the lights on, but it's still a little dim, so it has a nice dramatic feel to the viewer. So I'm gonna bump the light up. It's probably gonna make it look a little crappy, but now you're gonna see the highlights that I can visually see right now that's not translating to you through the camera. So let me bump this on. All right. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna up the intensity of the light. I got a really cool light over here on a tripod. And we're gonna go up to, let's kick it all the way up. All right, so you seeing those blue highlights now that you didn't see before? Well, they're there, but it's just really hard to translate that into you seeing it in the video. And of course it looks like really drowned out by light, but in person the blues are there, and it looks really, really good. you know, that's it. And I'll get you a little closer with the camera, but I'm gonna knock the light down a little bit because it's just really bright, and you know, it's kind of annoying, hard for me to see, but you get the gist of it. And also what I did, hold on, let me pause this right here. Okay, so there's the traditional pose. Let me knock this light down. Got it 100%. Let's knock it down to, let's go to about 40%. You still see a little blue there, that's 45. Okay, so 1 second. So besides, you know, everything that was customized on this guy, I'm a firm believer of I gotta just make my pieces just stand out from the herd. That's how I'm built. And really, what do you do to this guy after you do this, which is amazing? So I thought we take advantage of his pose, which is, you know, him shooting the web, and actually give him, you know, web to shoot per se. Now I know, you know, the costume, you know, he doesn't shoot the web, but in this particular take, you know, Spider-Man has worn a costume that is basically just a cloth costume that looks like the Back in Black costume. So we totally get away with this, and it all works, and it's a beautiful piece. So what I'm gonna do is I actually made a spider web that, you know, that he's shooting out of different variations of wire and rod, and I hadn't seen it done before, but I'm sure, like everything else I do, you're gonna see everyone doing it now. But oh well, whatever, part of the game, right? So I'm gonna put that in right now. And what I did is I dremeled a small, very small hole where his web shooter would be, but I didn't paint it silver because I don't want you to notice it that much if the client doesn't want to display the web. All right, so there we go. So, and let me turn them a little bit for you. And that's Spider-Man shooting a web. I mean, that's pretty cool. And I can't put him on the 360 for you because obviously he's going to snag the background. We don't want to do that. But I mean, you get a gist. And he could also, you know, kind of just, he could bend it a little bit, display it how he wants to display it, and you know, it'll look good. It's another little custom add-on for the piece. And now what I'm doing is I'm gonna take the web out, and then I'm gonna just get you a little closer with the camera, and then we're gonna call it a wrap. All right, guys, thanks for checking it out. As always, more to come.
How did you do that?
With style, Petit. With style.